Hi, Savannah. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. Heading into season two of Reginald the Vampire, I think it's very fun that we went from season one, where it was a lot of like Reginald learning the vampire ways and like kind of getting to meet and understand these characters. And now in season two, we're heading into a literal war.
Yeah.
For you, what is the fun of, getting to head into that war and be a part of something that has changed not so drastically, but like in a completely different way between seasons?
Yeah, it's definitely it escalated quickly. Yeah. Um, I mean, it's a lot of fun. I think first season was definitely kind of an the way you like how you said it, it's kind of more of an introduction into the world and stuff. And now we've definitely jumped full into the deep end. Um, I just think it was fun to get to see the characters in a different light. I think all the characters, not just the vampire characters, but everyone is kind of everyone's kind of being able to be seen in a different light from all the characters at the Slushy Shack and Nikki and Ashley and all of them. I think you get to see more of everyone, which I think is a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think too, what I love about this show is like all how I was saying how every show or lore or whatever it is has a different kind of vampire setup.
Yeah.
And is there any that you wish could be included in Reginald the Vampire? Because I feel like they could just add something to it and it would be like, yep, that's the lore for them. It makes
Yeah.
sense now.
Yeah, definitely. Ooh, that's a really good question. I think there's definitely been even like for me being it's so fun. I'm kind of like a really big vampire fan. I've always really enjoyed vampires. And so for
Mhm.
me, like I'd constantly be asking questions and I'd be like, so like what exactly like are we like this or are we like Anne Ricey? Are we like this? And they just kind of be like, no, we're like our own thing. And so I think, oh, that's really hard to pick something. Um I think it would be interesting to widen our. I mean, we're already involving angels
Mhm.
into our lore, but I think it would just be fun to add in some more supernatural elements, whether it's vampires or there's just uh some other creatures that get involved. That would be really interesting. I think it would also be really fun to bring in some more ancient vampires. I think it would be, yeah, it would be
Yeah.
really cool to see some more of the older vampires, like maybe some because Nikki and Angela are the oldest vampires that we have besides the other like council members and stuff like that. So I think it would be really interesting to see some of our old acquaintances or maybe even our like sires come in. That would be really interesting, like to see like who turned us.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I think that would be really fun. Maybe some more familiars would be great.
Does it make you happy to know then, as a big vampire fan, that technically, by the canon established in What We Do in the Shadows, the television show, that you, by extension, are a vampire, like you, Savannah, are a vampire? Did you know that that is the lore of What We Do in the Shadows?
Oh my goodness, no, I know.
It is anyone who has played a vampire is a vampire.
Oh my God, I love that. Yes, that makes so much sense. That makes so much sense. I used to see that all the time when I was a kid. Me and my friends would like, we grew up in a like really small town and we wouldn't like leave because everyone was kind of weird in our town. So there was just like a couple of us and we'd like wait till like the sun went down and like everyone else like went inside and was like eating dinner. And then there'd just be like us like slinking around our like small town and be like, we're vampires. We were such weird kids.
I know, I love it. It's perfect. Well, and it's funny as you said, it literally is kind of creating a weird comedy version of Supernatural because it's angels and vampires. And you're like, let's just include other supernatural beings. But
Yes.
other, with the exception of, I think, Interview with a Vampire, most of our current vampire lore, well, and Nosferatu's coming, but most of our current vampire shows are all comedy vampires. What do you think it is about like the ever changing look at vampires that has made it to where we are now doing more comedic stories with vampires versus the more serious stuff that we've seen in the past?
Oh, it's a really, really good question. I think there's just something about vampires that as a whole can be there's always there I think there's just always been something when like with these lores and in these movies and stuff where just like the slightest different, like if you were to just do things just slightly different, I think they could all be comedies.
Mm-hmm.
um I think there's something easy, not easy, but there's something fun about poking fun at these creatures. um That's a really good question that I haven't thought about, to be completely honest. I'm not 100% sure what it is that's kind of turned them more into a comedic element.
Mm-hmm.
I just yeah, that's really hard. That's a really good question.
Thank you.
Sorry,
Well,
I just keep like stumbling because I'm like, "Ooh, I don't know. I haven't thought about that."
it's okay. Well, then now I have my final question is, out of all of the vampire lore that exists, who is the one vampire that you're like, I want to see what they would look like on Reginald the Vampire?
Um Now that you've just, I mean, it's funny because you literally just mentioned it, but I think Nosferatu would be really fun.
Mhm.
Um it's the hands. Yeah, I just want to see. Yes, it's
Just
just
the
the
hands and then
hands.
the teeth that are always like,
Yeah, exactly. I just think that he could just, it would be like a thing where he just like shows up and Reginald's like, okay, well, what about him? How did he get turned into the vampire? You guys were making a big deal about me. What about this guy?
this creature that just emerged from the darkness.
Yeah, and it's just like the camera pans to him and he's just like, what?
They always looking like a lemur for some reason. Like Nosferatu's always just like this. You're
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It's like he just like like an owl too. The whole thing moves. But he is great though. There is
yeah.
something creepy about that. I mean, honestly, if you were like, in a sleep, imagine like sleep paralysis. You're sitting there and you just see this thing coming like
I'd be like, just
so
take me out.
literally. I'd be like, bring back my other sleep demon. I don't want this one. Bring
Oh,
back the Hat Man.
oh, I love it. Thank you so much for talking with me today. I really appreciate it. And I'm so excited for people to get to see season two.
Thank you so much. It was really great. And thank you for bringing those new questions.
Of course. Thank you.
Bye.